What makes a good agent? Hey guys, it's Brad from GeorgiaProbateResource.com and ArborViewHomeBuyers.com. We're a real estate solutions company in Metro Atlanta, but we buy houses all over Georgia, and we specialize in the world of inherited and probate properties. So what makes a good real estate agent? Well, I'm a licensed real estate agent myself with One Source Realty in Woodstock, Georgia. I have to tell you that. But I'm primarily a full-time investor, and I've been buying houses for years. Many years, and I've been working with real estate agents for many, many years, and I can tell you that not all agents are created equal. Everybody and their brother is a real estate agent. I'm sure you probably know a real estate agent. There are so many real estate agents out there, and I would encourage you, and I know you don't want to offend your friend or family member, but unless that real estate agent has specific experience in the world of inherited properties and the probate process, I highly suggest that you work with a real estate agent who specializes in that field, because it's very complicated and it's not run-of-the-mill, and they don't really teach you these things in real estate school, as they call it. They sort of gloss over it a little bit in your basic training for real estate school, but unless you have experience in this field, it's really complicated and should be left to someone who knows what they're doing. So, I would say there are 4 traits of a good real estate agent, and believe me, probably 90+% of the real estate agents out there on the market are terrible real estate agents. A lot of them, most people don't realize, are part-time. The average salary of a real estate agent is like $30-something thousand a year. You think that they drive the fancy car and they make a lot of money, but the reality is most real estate agents are part-time, and most of them don't really know what they're doing. They were good enough to take a real estate test, and believe me, I took the test and passed it with flying colors. It's not that difficult of a test to take. If you know how to study for a test and take the test, you can pass it. So, the number one skill that a good real estate agent should have is communication skills. The ability to communicate with you as the seller, or if you're their buyer, they are your buyer's agent. You as the buyer, they need to have great communication skills. They need to be able to listen to you and listen to what you have to say, listen to what you're looking for, especially on the buyer's agent side. If you're looking to buy a place, they need to be listening to the exact things that you want and what you don't want. If you're the seller, they need to be listening to your situation. They need to be listening to the possible hang-ups. They need to be anticipating potential issues that might occur in the future. And most of all, they need to be able to communicate with other real estate agents effectively. I can't tell you how many real estate agents I have dealt with that I don't know where they learned this, but they think that they need to go in there hard-nosed and try to negotiate. Well, I'm representing the seller, and they are just, excuse my language, they are a complete a-hole to me. And I was like, guys, we're both people. Let's have a conversation and let's talk about this. I represent my client. You represent your client. Let's come to a middle ground here. But no, you're going to give me this, and this. And some of them are just bullies. And honestly, I don't like to work with them. Most of the people that I get, agents that are like that, I'm like, I don't have time for you. So communication skills is number one. So you got to be able to communicate with the client. You got to be able to communicate with other agents effectively, and you need to be able to communicate with the other parties involved in a real estate transaction, which is typically like a closing attorney, appraisers, surveyors, that sort of thing. A lot of the people that are part of a typical real estate transaction, they need to be able to communicate with them. Trait number two, they need to set expectations with you as the client. There are people, I've run into this a lot, and you do not want an agent that is a yes man. I know you are the client, and I know that the customer is always right. But a good real estate agent will challenge the customer when they know what the customer wants is not realistic and not in their best interest. And the number one time that this comes into play, and this happens so much in the market is the customer says, I want $300,000 for my house. You're going to list it for $300,000 because that's what I want. But the reality is the marketplace dictates how much you're going to get for your house. And the buyers that are going to buy your house dictate how much you're going to get for the house. You don't just get to pull a number out of thin air and say, this is what I'm going to get for my house, because you're wasting your time and you're wasting the agent's time. And I know that's tough, but sometimes sellers need a dose of reality. And if you have a good real estate agent, that real estate agent will understand the market. And this is going into step 3, which is a market understanding. So I'm going to blend step 2 and step 3 here, which is a good real estate agent needs to have a market understanding and needs to know the current conditions of that market, very unique caveats to that specific market. Real estate is highly, highly local. A great example of this is we were looking at a deal probably, 4, 5, 6 months ago. And this was a house in East Cobb, and it was in a nice area, and it was right on the line between 2 different school districts. And it didn't make any sense to me because when I ran the comps on this property, I was getting price points in like the 800,000s, and then I had these 2 other houses that were actually extremely, extremely close to the subject property we were looking at, like literally a few doors down. And the comps were like $100,000 less than all the other comps in the same neighborhood. And what we found out is that and I was speaking with an agent that had sort of referred this lead, and they knew this area well. And I was looking at the numbers, and I asked her, what's up with this discrepancy? This doesn't make any sense. And she said, because there was like 5 houses that were built by a builder that came in later after all the other houses were built. And this was a different builder. And even though it's in the same neighborhood, where they put the gate in this neighborhood, these houses were outside of the gate, but they were still in the neighborhood. And these houses were almost like I don't want to offend anybody, the redheaded stepchild of this neighborhood. And the people that lived in this house weren't allowed to go through the gate. It was like they were untouchables or something. It was like almost like a crazy caste system or something. It didn't make any sense, but human beings do very, very strange things. So these 5 houses had to actually drive all the way, and there was a lake in this neighborhood, a big lake. These houses had to drive all the way around this lake to get to the amenities in the neighborhood, the pool, the tennis courts, all that stuff. So because of that, these houses were valued a lot less than all of the other homes in the same neighborhood. They were all in whatever the name of the neighborhood was. But these 5 houses were even though they're same square footage, very similar appointments, all of that. But for some reason, the people in the neighborhood looked down upon these 5 houses, and that's why they were worth less money. And had I not spoken to a good agent who knew, which I saw something was wrong, it's like, why is there a $100,000 discrepancy in these values? This just doesn't make sense. And this plays into an agent that has an understanding of your market. A good agent is going to run comparable sales. They're going to run current, they're going to run past, and they're going to analyze the trends of the neighborhood, and they're going to tell you what they think the house should be listed for, and you need to listen to them. I repeat, you need to listen to that agent. If that agent tells you that they think your house should be listed for this price, then please listen to them and don't strong arm them into giving you your number, because 9.9 times out of 10, if you strong arm them and tell them you want X number for your property, your house is going to sit on the market and it's not going to sell. And it's not about what you think. Remember, you're not the real estate professional as the seller. I know it's your house and it has a lot of meaning to you, but if you have a good agent, they're going to advise you on what they think your house should sell for. So just please keep that in mind, okay? So again, you want an agent that sets expectations with you, that says, this is how long it's probably going to take to sell. This is what you're going to need to do to sell it. This is some things that I think you should change about the house in order to sell it. They're going to give you tips as to what you should do to the house. And you don't want to hire an agent who is a yes man. There are some people out there who are just bullies, and they're going to hire the yes men, and then they're the same person that's going to get upset when their house isn't selling on the market, and they're going to blame it on the agent, but when in reality it's them. They're the bully, and they're just trying to find an agent who's a patsy and who'll do whatever they tell them to do, and they get to bully them through the process, and that's not who you want to work with. So the fourth trait, because I already talked about market understanding, that's trait number 3. The fourth trait is going to be follow through. A good agent is a salesperson, and their follow-up and follow-through skills need to be strong. If they do not have good follow-through and follow-up skills, they will not succeed, and they're not going to be a good agent. So you need to make sure that they have good communication skills, that they're setting expectations with you as the seller. They have a great market understanding of the local market where your house is in your neighborhood, and they need to have great follow-through skills. And the best way for you as a seller to figure out whether your agent has good follow-through skills is you need to sort of be a little vague with them and see if they chase you. If they come after you and ask you more questions and they follow up with you and they're good about following up, then you've got yourself a good agent. That's how I hire salespeople that work for me, is I'm very vague with them and I make sure that they chase me, not me chase them, because then I know that their follow through and their sales skills are good. So those are my 4 traits of what makes a good real estate agent. Again, I've been in the real estate business for years, and I've worked with a lot of terrible agents, and I've worked with some really good agents out there, and I'm also an agent myself. I've been an agent since 2017. So if you have a house you need to sell, if you just want to sell it quick for cash, we'll buy the house from you cash. We'll make you a quick, easy, fast cash offer. Take it off your hands, especially in the inherited world. It's probably going to have a lot of stuff in it. We'll buy it with all the junk in it. We'll buy it as is. But if you do want to go the traditional route and you want to list it out on the market with a real estate agent, we'd love to help you list it on the market. And we would love to talk to you about how we would go about doing that. So click on the link below, or you can give us a call, and we'll reach out to you, ask you a few questions, and we'll go from there. So thanks again for checking out this video. I really appreciate it. Again, I'm Brad with GeorgiaProbateResource.com and ArborViewHomebuyers.com. I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.